Greetings, everyone. Tukozani. We'll be getting started shortly.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. I'm gonna ask everyone to put themselves on mute, please. Okay, thank you everyone for coming to tonight's masterclass. My name is Makhosi Ateyo Nkanyezi. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the presentation and we'll get started. Okay, so tonight's masterclass webinar is about why rites of passage is vital for humanity and why it's the necessary link in stepping fully into our abundance. My name is Makhosi Ateyo Nkanyezi, and I will be sharing with you tonight some of the reasons why I feel that rites of passage is vital to humanity really elevating themselves. So I have put together this presentation to just go over a few reasons why. So today we're going to talk about the 3 reasons why rites of passage led me to discover my own purpose. and how it has helped me claim my ancestral inheritance. So it's really assisted me in discovering the path to my abundance. It has allowed me to live life on my own terms and just truly live out what my ancestors would dream for me. It's connected me deeply with spirit, with source, with my ancestors, with earth. And I want to share with you how you can discover your own spiritual gifts through rites of passage and connect more with your ancestors and your spiritual roots. Over the last few weeks, I've been sharing information, snippets about my new program, African Mystery School. And we're going to go ahead and talk about that at the end of the presentation. But now I want to just share a little bit about my experience. I promise to really, stick to the point. I'll do my best not to veer off, but I really want to share about my own journey, as I feel that we are truly mirrors to one another. And in being mirrors, by me sharing my story, hopefully you can see some of your own journey through what I've been through. So, as I said, I want you to discover your own spiritual gifts and learn how to communicate with your spirits. Throughout my journey, I've encountered a lot of great teachers, but I've also encountered, some that lack integrity. I'm sure most of us have seen on social media, priests and certain, individuals from African traditions get a bad rap for the work that they do. So it's important to know yourself and know your values, and so that you can see that reflected in the leadership that you're choosing to guide you on your journey. So I really want you to not have to struggle because you don't have that support. And we'll just share a little bit of some things that you can, look out for. So in today's webinar, we're going to talk about 3 secrets. So the first is how to reclaim ancestral traditions without losing the sacredness, right? So that you can implement the knowledge in your daily life so that it's practical, and you can actually use it to move forward, okay? Secret 2 is how to be in community without compromising your personal boundaries, right? So that you can truly experience the power of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a Zulu, South African Bantu term meaning I am because you are. And it's truly the essence of what community is all about. In Secret 3, we're going to talk about how to bring your consciousness into alignment with your divine purpose without fear, right? So that you can claim your spiritual inheritance. Now, I want to know if this sounds like you. Do you have the desire to learn African spiritual traditions, but you're struggling with knowing where to begin, right? Do you want to be able to connect deeply with your ancestors without having to worry about opening yourself up to negative energies, okay? So that you can work with those ancestors that are for you, for your elevation, and that also want to continue to elevate, as you are only as strong as your weakest link, right? So if there are those in your ancestral line, right, that have not fully elevated, You want to make sure that you are working with those ancestors that have been doing their work, because together you have the ability and opportunity to elevate those in your ancestral line, as well as negative energies, right? To raise and elevate as well and shift your environment. Are you tired of feeling stagnant while you're seeing other people, move forward in claiming their birthright, seeing other people find their spiritual homes, right? And you're still feeling stuck and not really sure where to go. If you're struggling to break free from limiting beliefs so that you can move forward, does this sound like something you have experienced or are experiencing currently in your life? Do you have the vision and the calling to be a healer, but you're stuck and not sure where to go because you lack guidance? Then I have something for you to share with you. And I want you to know that the deeper issue, the deeper problem is that as a community, as a culture, we have lost our connection to our spiritual traditions. We've been taught that our African culture is wrong. So when we're approached with having opportunities to partake in different African traditions, we're coming with that stigma, with that mindset, right, that these things are wrong. And so the mind is very powerful. It can create obstacles and blockages where there may not be any, just because you have that deep embedded fear, right? And we've been taught to be afraid of ourselves, taught that African tradition is wrong, African spirituality is evil, right? I want to talk about why you should listen to me, why you should trust what I'm saying. For the last, over the last decade, really for the last 12 years, I have been on this path, on this journey of reconnecting to my roots, really awakening my gifts, my abilities, so that I'm where I'm at today, where I'm able to share with you all. My journey led me all the way to South Africa. First of all, just to share a little bit about me, I am 40 years old. I was born in the Bay Area, California. And if you would have asked me if I thought that I would be a Sangoma, if you would have asked me what a Sangoma was, I probably would have had no idea. Just, how I was raised in the environment that I was raised, like I never heard of anything like that. I was raised in the church, and that's pretty much all that I knew up until my 20s, when I started to really feel and understand that something was a little bit different about me. And I started to really just understand that some of the experiences that I had been going through were signs that I had what is known in Ubungoma, which is the spiritual tradition of the Zulu Sangoma, known as Ubizu. And Ubizu is known as the calling. It is known as the sickness, right? It is basically where your life begins to spiral, and it causes you to have to look to alternate solutions, because you're not able to receive assistance. Like, I had been in and out of the hospital throughout childhood. I grew up experiencing seizures and epilepsy from out of nowhere that were unexplained. In my teenage years, that left, and then it transitioned into depression and anxiety, and that lasted with me all the way up until, I accepted my calling, and began to channel that energy and understand the reason why, I experienced depression and anxiety. And for me, being that I have a calling to be a Sangoma, when you're not doing your healing work, when you're not giving of your gifts, that energy doesn't have anywhere to go, right? So in a sense, your body, your being turns against you. And so that's what I was experiencing throughout my life. It felt like my being, my body had turned against me. And I found myself to the point where I was not able to get out of bed due to depression, due to just being ill out of nowhere. And it led me to, have to seek alternative methods because, again, no one could help me. No doctor was really able to give me any answers. So I went on the journey to try to heal myself. And in that, I met so many wonderful people along the way that really helped mold me into who I am today, right? I met those magical beings. I often consider my journey to be likened to Alice in Wonderland, right? And I went down the rabbit hole. And in that journey, I met so many wonderful teachers and just magical beings who really helped me to understand who I am. So I truly understand how you feel. I wanted to be able to connect with my guides, with my ancestors. I was constantly looking for ancestors. Looking for the answers, through other people. There's nothing wrong with receiving, readings and divinations and help from spiritual advisors, but it began to, be like for everything, I needed to have someone affirm my abilities, right? And it was not until, I really just surrendered, that I was able to start hearing and noticing how my ancestors communicate with me, right? Everybody has their own way that they connect with their guides, with their ancestors, and everybody's ancestors has their own language and way they communicate. So, trying to go to other people and receive messages. My ancestors had specific messages for me directly that really weren't to be shared with anyone, right? And so because I was going to the wrong people, not listening to myself when I was feeling that certain teachers who said they were going to help me when they didn't, staying in situations long past their time, that further made me sick because my guides wanted to move through me, right? They wanted to work through me. It wasn't until I actually allowed my ancestors to guide me to my teacher. They literally, back when the feature for Facebook calling was available, they literally had my teacher call me, right? And over a period of weeks, I kept getting these missed calls from my teacher. And I started to, look at the work that they did, but I felt like that was way beyond where I was at. I was doubting myself, my abilities. So that was the first sign, where they showed me who my teacher would be. But I wasn't ready at the time. My mind wasn't ready. So I want to talk, a little bit about, when I met my teacher. Eventually, we ended up connecting through another friend, and, I met my teacher and began my process. She explained to me what was going on, in my life. She explained to me all of the things that, I was experiencing, and explained to me what language I was speaking, what ancestors these were, right? Because again, not all ancestors are created equal, and exactly what I was experiencing. She was able to finally just really connect all the dots for me, right? So eventually I became a Twaza, and a Twaza is a initiate basically in the Sangoma tradition. Okay, so pictured above, that's me finally making it to South Africa after a long 4-year initiation process where I really, like, by the time I made it to South Africa, I had given up everything, This journey has cost me relationships. It's cost me really my old life. I surrendered all of that, and I'm so grateful because it really helped me to release that frustration that I was always feeling, right? It helped me to understand my spiritual gifts, my unique gifts, right? And the way that my gifts show up, because sometimes, we can think that we don't have any spiritual gifts because we're comparing ourselves to other people, right? Sometimes your gift can be super subtle, but that doesn't mean that it's any less powerful, any less magical. So I got to really understand how my gifts work, how, people just, feel comfortable with me. They feel at home with me, open to communicate, how I seem to always have the answers, right, to everyone else's problem. But sometimes I'm not able to, or at the time I wasn't able to find solutions to my own situations and issues that I was dealing with. So it led me to dealing with depression, right? Because I couldn't understand how I was able to be such a gift to others, but I couldn't be a gift to myself. But having gone through Ukutwaza, or the initiation journey to become a Sangoma, it really put me in that space to be still. As an initiate, there are certain taboos and protocols that you have to follow. So I just wasn't able to really live the life that I normally lived and do the things that I did. And so even in doing that, it really was able to undo so much that was going on just by changing certain habits, just by being an initiate itself really helped to undo a lot of the things, that were plaguing me at the time without me even really having to do anything else, do or be anything else, just following the guidelines that my rites of passage, that my initiation entailed, really helped me to get out of my own way. And, now I am able to truly, live my dream. I'm able to assist other people who have the same calling, a similar calling to be a Sangoma. The thing about Ubungoma, or the Sangoma tradition, is there aren't that many of us in the West. And that is, a big reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's a part of my unique gift. My ancestors, my guides, they always told me and continue to tell me that I am to be a bridge of connecting people, right, to their greatness, connecting them to what it is that they need to heal, right? So that is a part of my gift. That's part of the reason why they have guided me to create African Mystery School, to be a bridge in connecting, all of these African traditions, because those of us in the West, we have such unique ancestry. We're made up of so many different things. And it's no wonder why we have so many different callings, right? In all of these African traditions, because we're mixed with all of those things. So I'm grateful that I answered my calling. I'm grateful that I spent that time to myself, that I gave myself that opportunity to get to know me, to get to know my guides inside and out, right? Without a shadow of a doubt, I know my guides. I know their voice because I spent that time developing that relationship, right? So because I did that, I don't have to sacrifice what makes me me, because my guides, my ancestors, all of my spirits that walk with me, they know me inside and out. So when they're guiding me, when they're showing me what to do, when they're showing me things, they're speaking and guiding from understanding who I am and my abilities, right? My ancestors called me all the way from South Africa, right? I was born, as I said, in Sacramento, California. You know, they crossed a lot of waters to come and get me, right? They knew that I was this young girl from the hood, that I'm still a little rough around the edges, right? But I have a gift, right? I have an ability to see beyond worlds, to communicate with spirit, to divine, right? So regardless of all these things that I can find fault in, my ancestors, my guides still called me, right? And your ancestors, no matter what you may feel, right, is going on with you, or what's wrong with you, or all the things that you may say about yourself, your ancestors, your spirits, they still want the best for you. They still see the best for you, right? So this process helped me to understand that. This is my life today. I shared some of these images yesterday on my social media, and you know, if I mean, I truly, my life is truly just a joy and a pleasure. I get to do what I love. I get to help people. I get to connect them with spirit, with their ancestors. And when I see them light up, you know, because they are making, you know, that connection, when things are finally starting to click, you know, it truly lights my world up. So, you know, answering my calling, though it was difficult, it truly, you know, gave me the freedom to feel and experience abundance on so many levels, right? Abundance is not necessarily financial, but it definitely is an aspect of that, right? And every day I get to live my purpose. I get to, you know, do this full time, you know, especially during these times. I'm grateful that my ancestors are my employers, right? I'm not having to go out into the world and, you know, make money doing something that doesn't bring me joy, that doesn't really serve in my purpose and my gifts. I get to do the things that I love and spend time, you know, with the people whom I love, doing and experiencing new things, things that I only really dreamed of. And I really want the same for you. And I know that, you know, if you allow yourself to go on a rites of passage, if you allow yourself to connect with your ancestors, you can experience some of the same things. You can experience joy, you know, on every level. So now I want to share some of those secrets that we talked about in the beginning. So these are my three biggest secrets, and why I'm going to be sharing and showing you, you know, how you can achieve these things, right? How you can experience an awakening and tackle some of those goals that you have for yourself without having to struggle, you know, the way that I did. I always say that, you know, I'm grateful and glad that I, you know, had to go the path that I did. And those bumps and bruises, you know, that I experienced, it makes it all worth it because I'm able to save some others who are willing to learn and receive, you know, guidance, able to save them some of that struggle. And so I want to share some of the things with you that I've learned, some of the secrets. So hopefully you are ready to get started. I'll be able to check the comments after my presentation. So I want to be able to really see if you are finding value, right? If you had any moments where you were able to make a connection, right? And see yourself through me as I am just really a mirror. That's, you know, one of my major gifts is just really just being a mirror and allowing people to reflect, right? So again, comment below and I'll be able to check after my presentation what you guys think. So secret number one is, as I shared earlier, how to reclaim ancestral traditions without losing the sacredness, right? So that you can implement the knowledge in your daily life. You know, we live in crazy times, and, you know, the way that the world is, it doesn't always, you know, allow us to be spiritual, right? I always say it's very difficult to be spiritual when you have to pay the light bill, right? So you're not able to really focus on, you know, learning new things and being open to the messages that you're hearing, you know, because you're living, you know, everyday life and trying to keep the lights on. But, you know, I want to share, you know, some of our connection to the source. But through my journey, one of the things that I've learned, one of the lessons that I've learned is that even if you don't have much to give right where you are right now, the one of the most powerful forms of magic is simply being open, right? Knowing how to, what I call, empty your cup, right? And allow yourself to be filled. That is the way I was able to, you know, be open to learn these different ancient African healing modalities. Just starting with having an open mind was the first step to unlocking my spiritual abilities. And it gave me that direct channel to receive the guidance from what is known as Alozi in Ubungoma. So sometimes I'm sure you see me posting online Alozi all the time. I'm always talking about Alozi this and Alozi that. Well, Alozi in Zulu means ancestor, or it means your ancestral guide. So each of us have a main ancestral guide that walks with us, right? So it was my Alozi that had been calling me, you know, when I was 13 years old, right? And having dreams and seeing things, you know. It was my Alozi that was there, you know, with me when, you know, different people would come to me for advice and I would seem to know the answer and I couldn't understand, like, you know, where all this great information came from. It was channeled through Alozi. And now that I, went through that process of initiation, I was able to really merge with my ancestors. And really that's what, rites of passage allows. It allows the emergence of the healer. It allows you to merge with your spirits, right? So that you can become one. Okay. And because of that, that's really where I am today, because of the ability to do that. My ancestors are always showing me, ways I can do things better, right? Because again, they know me, they understand my gifts. They also understand the times that we're in, right? So they know about the internet, they know about all these things. So they know that they can utilize technology. Some of you are, many different places. I have people watching abroad, all over, right? So that's spirit in technology. So being open, right, to even utilizing technology to open up your spiritual world, to create community through spirit. This wasn't something that we were able to do many years ago, right? Many years ago, that's the reason why I went so long, right, without knowing, what was going on with me. It took so many years to be able to answer my calling because there was no access, right? So now we have access to use technology, right? And though it may be a modern thing, spirit works just the way spirit works. It doesn't matter. Spirit is here now as we share together in this time. My Alozi is here now with me, sharing with you, hopefully connecting with your ancestral guides, with your Alozi, your guide that walks with you, to help you deepen that connection with your guide. So that brings us to the second secret: how to be in community without compromising your boundaries so that you can experience the power of Ubuntu. And I shared with you earlier, Ubuntu is truly a symbol of community in action, okay? I am because you are. I am here because my ancestors, your ancestors, want and need this medicine. They want to connect with you. They want you to understand more of who they are so you can understand more of what you are, right? And how to operate in your gifts. And community has been essential in my journey, right? Throughout my initiation process, throughout my rites of passage, I was placed in sacred community that was spiritually selected for me to bring out the best in my ability, right? In African tradition, we do things in community for that reason, because the power of being witnessed is so potent, it's so powerful, right? In this world, we walk around feeling unheard, unseen. And so our ancestors knew, right, that someone just simply saying, I see you, Swabona, Sambanani, I see you, right? And you responding, yes, it's good to be seen, right? That is powerful medicine. Simply knowing that someone is there, someone understands your purpose. And that brings me to, our second community mistake, is that we don't fully understand ourselves, right? Because we don't understand our connection to each other. As I said, we're mirrors, right? And so if we're not able to see one another, how can we see ourselves? Because we're not able to see all the subtle reflections that make us who we are through others. Even if it's in contrast, it allows us to see ourselves, right? Spirit and the divine don't waste anything. So even when we're learning what not to do, right, we're still learning. It's still sharpening, you know, our sword to make us stronger, even if we're learning through opposition. But the power of learning with community is, you know, so much more magnetic. It's so much more transformative. You know, when you do things together, if you want to go far, you go together. If you don't want to go far, you try to go alone, right? You need a team. In doing this work that I'm doing, you know, it was important that I gather my tribe, my team of women, my support system. These are people and women that, you know, are part of my world, right? Because they're my reflections, because they went through something similar to me. So I'm able to, you know, fully embrace them, and they embrace me because we understand each other on that deep level. And that is my second lesson. You know, rites of passage is truly a bridge to bring people together, to heal the gap. Everyone has that opportunity to see how deeply they're connected because they were able to witness one another's process. You know, I've been through several rites of passages at this point, and, you know, some of, you know, my sister's experiences, whether I actually had them or not, just being able to be a part of their process was so healing to me, to be able to witness, you know, so affirming to me, to my spirit, to know that I was not alone in some of the things that I experienced, that nothing was wrong with me, right? Because they too experienced that thing, and it brought us together to understand, you know, our unique purpose in each other's life, right? So it made me value myself more because I was constantly being affirmed by others. And that is truly the power of Ubuntu, the power of community. Makhosi. For my secret 3, I want to talk about how to bring consciousness into alignment with divine purpose without fear, so that you can claim your spiritual inheritance. The biggest community mistake that I see with that is that we forget that abundance is our birthright, that the universe that we live in is naturally expansive, right? Everything around us is abundant, that there is no lack. And it's easy to get caught up in that mindset that we have to do things by ourselves, that there won't be enough for us. That's the story that the shadow, that the ego tells us, that the mind tells us, that we've been taught. And it's reinforced, you know, throughout our society. But my guides every day show me that I am abundant just with the power of my mind, with the power of my thoughts. I'm able to create my reality, the things that I want to see. It opens me up to new opportunities. So forgetting that and not understanding, you know, that you can create your world, you know, is, like I said, one of the biggest mistakes I feel, you know, that as a community that we share. But one of the things that I learned, you know, in my journey is that our guides are always sending us messages. And so when I learned how to tap into that wisdom, right, into that vibration, like I was saying earlier, when I learned how my guides communicate with me, how it feels in my body, you know, when they are trying to pass a message to me, it allowed me to really see, you know, and it showed me how my life was a reflection of my mindset, especially, you know, as a diviner, you know, as someone who shares messages, you know, of people's passed on loved ones, you know, of those that, even of those that they don't know. Those messages can only be a channel, you know, wisdom and knowledge that are beyond my own understanding. They able to just download me, you know, with knowledge and wisdom. But it starts with being open. It starts with the mind and knowing that you have these opportunities all around you every day. Every moment is an opportunity to do something different. And that is truly ancestral healing at the core, right? When you know yourself, when you make powerful choices, that helps to move your lineage forward just by you changing your mind. That's changing your DNA, right? By moving out of groupthink and allowing yourself to do something different and being willing to, you know, be ridiculed by some of your loved ones for a while. You know, as we break away, we're often, you know, ridiculed for those things, teased for those things, and no one wants to experience that. That brings up all of the stuff that we experienced when we were children, right? All of those things where we feel we're not good enough. But, you know, when you open up your mind to see and know and feel that abundance is your birthright, it allows you to step into that inheritance, you know, that your guides, that your ancestors have for you because you're doing things differently, right? It opens up just energy, and that can in turn, you know, be financial and be actual money. But, you know, my mind is my most powerful currency. I'm able to manifest at will because my guides are constantly, like I said, always showing me these opportunities, always dropping in messages, always guiding me. No, go left. You know, when I thought that I wanted to go right, no, go left. And I trust that when I hear my spirits, because like I said before, I took the time to know them. So I know to listen when they guide me. So just to quickly recap, you know, what we have talked about today, what we covered thus far was Secret One, how to reclaim ancestral traditions without losing the sacredness so that you can implement that knowledge in your life. We also shared and talked about Secret Two, how to be in community without compromising your boundaries so that you can experience Ubuntu. And just by moving in the power of Ubuntu, that automatically eliminates, you know, those edges, you know, those boundaries being crossed because you're moving with source, right? Everybody is respecting the earth. They're respecting one another. They're seeing and knowing, you know, who and what people are, so they know how to approach, so boundaries don't get crossed by moving in Ubuntu. We talked about secret number 3, how to bring consciousness into alignment with divine purpose, right? Without fear, so that you can finally claim your spiritual inheritance. So now I want to ask you a question. Are you ready for your next chapter? Are you ready to move forward? Are you ready to be what your ancestors, have given so much for? I always say I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. I am the one in the being that was created from all of their audacity. So who am I not to be great? Who am I not to accept the call because of all of the things that they have given to me? Are you ready to claim that for yourself? And some of you may be saying, yes, you are ready, but you're just not sure, right? If you can make it happen on your own. You have tried to do this before, and, that's what probably led you here, because you saw something, that spoke to you, that maybe was like, okay, maybe this will finally be the thing. Maybe this time, I'll receive, the teachings that I need, right? So that I can be what I need to be, so that I can also be a leader, right? Because, the power of rites of passage is you learn how to be a leader, right? Because you allow yourself to be guided. You allow yourself to follow, to surrender to spirit. So I do understand, as I said, I've been through this in my own journey. I've been on this path for so many years at this point, well over a decade. So it's why I've created African Mystery School. It's why I have, this offering to share with you. And I want to be clear that this may not be for everyone. And it's, not for you if you're not willing to be guided. If you're still, holding on to your old ways, if you still feel like, you have all the answers. And it's not to say that you don't, because you don't. It's important, to, like I said, know yourself and know that sometimes you can be wrong. Know that sometimes you may be responding out of a wound, and that what you think is not even you. It could be something, that was inherited through your ancestry. So if you're not willing to be guided, by spirit, someone that spirit has chosen, someone that your ancestors have called for you, then this probably isn't for you. Again, if you're not, willing to change, if you're unable to change and grow, if you just want to be where you are, this probably isn't for you. It's definitely not for you if you don't want to build a relationship with your ancestors, if you're afraid of them. We've been taught to be afraid, especially those of us like myself who, grew up with a, Christian background. We're taught to, be afraid of speaking with the dead, when, in my opinion, if you really, understand the symbology and what is being shared, in these tools like the Bible, right? It tells you there that your ancestors are the angels, right? That those are your guides, your connection, right? To the Creator, to God, to that being that is the source, right? This journey is perfect for you if you are willing and ready to learn from those that have been on the path and are still on the path, right? Still moving through the challenges gracefully, with ease and grace, right? Because we've had enough of hardness. We've had enough. We deserve some ease and grace. We deserve to be simply led, right? And to let go and to trust. We do deserve that. Everything doesn't have to be a struggle. So if you're ready to open to new experiences, right? To accept and move through challenges, because, that's how we learn and grow. That's what we came to Earth for, right? To learn, grow, experience new things. And if you're ready to have that strong relationship with your ancestors and allow their guidance in your life, those ancestors that want the best for you, what I call your elevated ancestral spirits, what I call and know to be, within my tradition as Alozi, Amalozi, again, Alozi is your main ancestral guide, and Amalozi is your collective, ancestors, right? Because you have a team with you. You have a team of ancestors that work to elevate you, each having their own distinct offering, right? And that's, part of my gift and my ability is identifying those ancestors that are part of your team, right? That want to help you to live an abundant life. So again, interaction is key. I'll be able to see the comments once I'm finished, and I'll be excited to read through and see, again, hopefully if you're receiving any value with the things that I'm sharing today. So hopefully it's okay with you to share, what I've created with you. Some of you have seen it and have been asking, more about the tuition and how you can be a part. Well, again, I want to introduce to you Afrikan Mystery School. It is my baby. I have been having this vision of creating a mystery school that contains all of, the African traditions, at least, the ones that I know that I have a calling in. And I know most of those of us that are in the West have as well, because again, like I said earlier, we are such, a mix of ancestry, and, it's super popular now, to have your ancestry tested, and you can see exactly what I'm saying. We each have these percentages. And so, those of us who have the Black experience, those of us whose ancestors have been through the Ma'afa, it doesn't really matter where we were dropped off, and where those descendants, have remained. Those callings are still with us, right? And you can choose to start with one path, but as you begin to grow in that path, those other ancestors they'll want to be honored as well. And yes, and the ancestors will respond to, whatever tradition that you provide them the outlet to show up in your life. But again, thinking of yourself, right? You want people to truly understand who you are, right? And communicate with you in ways that you understand. So the same for, these African traditions. There are certain ancestors that will better respond to certain methodology. And that is why I have created this 9-month transformational rites of passage, right? To bring together some powerful women priestesses who have well over 10, 20, 30 years of, initiation and, walking their paths. I will be sharing, of my tradition, Ubungoma, the mysteries of the Zulu Sangoma. when I was an initiate, going through my initiation to be a Twaza, because for spirit to feel and show up. And it was through Priestess Path, a women's rites of passage, where I met the Mambo who was going to be sharing about the voodoo tradition. We literally went through initiation together, while we were going through the other rites of passage together, Priestess Path. We each, I flew to Vos Laurels, a township in Johannesburg, South Africa, to complete my initiation after training for, like I said, about 4 years. And she was in Haiti. So we were there together, on different parts of the world, answering our calling. And so I'm so excited to share African Mystery School with you. My vision for you is that you learn what tradition resonates most with you, so that you can explore that, right? And as I said before, be able to surrender, because you can trust your guide that they want the best for you, that the medicine that they're sharing, that they have double checked and made sure, that they've done their due diligence to know that what they're providing you is well and good for your spirit. So we've all been on this journey, and we are now coming together to make this possible for you, so that you can learn, from women priestesses, in each of these major African traditions that we hear so much about, so that we can, you know, demystify some of the untruths that are out there about some of these African traditions, right? I'm so excited to be able to share more about my tradition that I'm initiated in. As again, as I said earlier, there's not a lot of Sangomas in the West. And truth be told, there are many Sangomas. They just don't know that they have the calling. They just don't know that this is the outlet for them that will finally awaken their spirit, that their spirits, that their ancestors have been calling for. Some have tried to, go through other portals or gateways, as I call them, of African medicine, and they have found themselves, at a standstill. I know that that was my own, personal experience for so long. As I said before, I even know what a Sangoma was. I was having experiences, with Orisha, and they were showing up. I didn't even know what a Sangoma was, but because the Orisha tradition in the West is, or Lukumi or Santeria, it goes by many different titles. You also have traditional Asese that's based in Nigeria. You have so many different facets of this tradition, but because it's so such a large community or growing community here, that's almost what everybody thinks that they, have to do. And while I love Lukumi, while I am always and forever, in love with Orisha, not everybody has a calling in Orisha. There are many of us who have Congo Bantu ancestry, and those ancestors within that line need to be taken care of, that are holding the door, right? They're blocking because they don't want to be initiated in that particular way, right? They have their own methods in their own way, and they know that if you allow them to show you the tradition that best suits them, that you'll be able to feel and see, And it's not to say that you cannot initiate or participate in some of these other beautiful African traditions, but it's about order, right? When you think about building a house, you have to have the foundation, right? Then you build the structure, then you put on the roof. In certain African traditions, there's a certain order, right, in which you may want to go in receiving certain things. In most African traditions, you start with the ancestors, and some spiritual African traditions work with ancestors differently. I know that Ubungoma, the Zulu tradition, the Bantus, they have a deep connection with ancestors. So the work is going to show up a little differently, right? Then you also have, you know, the Orisha. Many people are called to that, but that might be something that needs to come later, right? After you've built your foundation with your ancestors. A lot of people in Lukumi, they say that you've been crowned, right, with this Orisha, that this Orisha has your head, right? The head wears the crown. So you want to start with certain traditions to build your foundation, and then you crown. So that may explain why some of you, you know, are trying to be in certain traditions but aren't moving anywhere, because your ancestors have a certain way they want to go about it. And so that's the reason why African Mystery School has been created, so that you have a proper path to fulfill your destiny. It's really simple, you know, to get started and, you know, join us for this 9-month rites of passage and learn about the different medicines of the Zulu Sangoma. Learn about the Orisha, right? Learn about the mysteries of Ori, your mind, right? Learn about ancestors through the lens of Lukumi. Learn about your Egungun, right? Stop being afraid of voodoo. I remember when I was a young girl, I was so afraid of voodoo. Like, just the word itself creates so much fear in people, you know, playing with voodoo. When voodoo is one of the most beautiful traditions I have ever witnessed. Once you understand the symbolism and what is actually happening and how the spirits move, it's so powerful, and I can't wait for you to experience that. With my beloved sister Marie, she was born in Haiti, long line, long generation of Haitians that, you know, were voodoo saints that worked within the medicine. So she has a lot to share with you. You know, she's someone that, you know, grew up in the West, so she understands both worlds, even though she was born in Haiti. You know, most of her adult life and most of her life was here. So she knows how to navigate. So now I want to share with you a little bit about how this works. We'll be finished probably in the next 10, 15 minutes for those of you that's still holding on. But basically, African Mystery School, all of the classes, all of the content is online. We have a private member press site where you can log into. Each week, you'll receive a new mystery course every Sunday night at midnight. So our first course will be released on Sunday, September 20th or September 21st at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And moving forward every Sunday thereafter, you'll have lifetime access to everything within African Mystery School and the African Mystery School community, as long as you are current, you know, with your tuition installments. And for those of you that choose to pay in full at enrollment, you will be, you know, in the forever community. As long as you choose to grow and learn with African Mystery School, we will be there to support you. I want to go over the various experiences. I'm going to be with you throughout the 9 months, but I wanted to break it up and again, bring in different priestesses to share from their perspective, from their tradition that they are initiated in. In my journey, the ancestors in my bones, those who choose to initiate and join African Mystery School and go through this rites of passage, you'll also learn how to divine with bones. You know, I've been doing ancestral bone divination classes to assist people with communicating with their ancestors so that they hear, see, and feel those messages deep within their bones, right? So that they know without a shadow of a doubt that those are their guides. And I'll be sharing all of the tools in an expanded version to really of my regular level 1 class to add additional foundational pieces that really support you in taking the journey with the ancestors to a deeper level, to really be able to see them show up in your life so that you can see those ancestors that are still living, so that you can see the changes being made, as well as opening the way for the new ancestors that are to come. In the second 6-week journey in Module 2, you have one of my close sisters, another Sangoma, Makhosi Nicole, based in Canada. She'll be teaching about creativity and spirituality and how to use your spiritual gifts to create masterpiece of art, right? And to be able to channel that energy for healing, you know, to benefit others. In the third 6-week module, I have the beautiful Tracy Bryant teaching on the metaphysics of the womb, how to heal ancestral trauma. Tracy owns Love My Womb Academy, and she has hundreds of students all over the globe. So she is the perfect guide to teach you, you know, about the mysteries of the womb. In our next cycle, we have another Makhosi, another Sangoma from the United States. And I chose all of these Sangomas that are born in the West because I want them to be able to speak to our experiences that we keep us attracting lack, you know, even though we want to create, you know, a life for ourselves. Sometimes we keep experiencing and having the same patterns. Makhosi's work will assist you with moving forward and finally making that connection so that you can see a difference in your spiritual life as well as your bank account. Because again, it's hard to be spiritual when you broke, okay? When you need your bills to be paid. You can't focus on your spirit. You can't spend time with your ancestors to learn how to communicate. So that is going to be a powerful 6-week journey with Makhosi. In the next 6-week cycle, we have the beautiful Effie Michelle. She is going to be teaching on the ancestors, Egun. She's going to be talking about the power of the Ori, the power of the mind. She'll be teaching about the Orisha, demystifying some of the untruths that we hear about the Orisha. She'll also have a special class on the Orisha Oshun that everybody loves to talk about. So I'm really excited for us to go through that journey together. And my sister, Marie, my sister on the path, she will close out for us in her 6-week guided experience, Voodoo, A Way of Life, where she is going to really break down voodoo and show you the beauty of voodoo and show you that all of this time we've been taught to be afraid of one of the most powerful ancestral traditions. Something that I feel that in today's time is so needed, that medicine, to be able to learn how to free ourselves, elevate our minds, right? That medicine is so powerful. So I'm sure, everything sounds amazing. And I want to go over just a little of the specifics of what you get when you enroll. Each of the weekly courses have a premium guidebook that is printable so that you can take your lessons with you on the go. If you need to study, some of us, like to have hard copies of things and aren't, fully committed to that digital life. So you'll have your guidebooks that you can print out with all your lessons and coursework to support you in each of the 6-week guided experiences over that 9 months. You'll receive training videos every Sunday. You'll receive a new video from each instructor over their 6 weeks. So we have 6 instructors, 6 weeks to make up the full 9 months. Each of the priestesses are going to work with you, taking you through a journey of empowerment, self-development, and really by the end of the 9 months, you should be clear, on what path is right for you. Where's the best place for you to start? We'll also have soul sessions that go along with each of the 6 portals, the 6 gateways that you're going to go through. So these are soul work assignments that you need to complete. These assignments really will help you unlock, who you are and the work that you've been called to do. Okay? They are meant to challenge you and grow you. You'll be doing a vision quest, doing some ancestral imprint healing, removing imprints, right? So many wonderful mysteries that you'll be experiencing with the soul work sessions. We also have a fabulous community that will support you in the role of the guardian of the gateways. I have Nkanyezi Serwa. She is a powerhouse, a wealth of information, a wonderful guide and midwife. She'll be with you throughout the 9 months. She'll share her insights and teachings. She'll lead you through each portal and be with you, and she works with the other teachers, right, to kind of help, give you things that maybe you didn't consider when you went through that gateway. And she'll be going live in the groups that we have, or the group, I should say, that we have. She'll be going live in there to interact with you throughout the time and just be an additional place of support for you. And one of the bonuses that, my guides spoke to me about, and especially something that, having gone through, like I said, many rites of passages, I know that it's important to have additional support outside of the mysteries, outside of the lessons that you're learning, right? Some weeks, may be harder than others. Some things may trigger you, right? So I have a team of women that, will be there for weekly temple hours. Each week will be available for 3 hours. Myself and 2 other priestesses will be there to assist you, and you can have a 15-minute session, if you're able to, you know, sign up on that office hour, your session time could be a mix of, you know, for me, you know, since I divine, you can receive an ancestral reading, some guidance, right? We have people that do Reiki. You know, I have priestesses that are powerful oracles, you know, healing hands if you just need, you know, if you had a rough week and you just need to, you know, release some energy. So however you need to utilize that time, you know, lean in and be supported. Another thing, you know, that's important in most African traditions is ancestral beadwork. And I have a powerful priestess that will be making custom beadwork for all of the initiates. Pictured are some of my personal ancestral beads, and we'll talk about what each pattern means so that you understand, you know, each pattern is for a particular ancestral spirit within Ubungoma, within the Zulu tradition. And so, as I said, I want to share with you what each ancestor, what their medicine is and how they show up in you so that you can best utilize your ancestors, right, to change your life. So every initiate will receive their set of custom ancestral beads, consecrated and charged for your spiritual elevation, connection. I just noticed a typo. And for your protection, you know, as you're going through rites of passage, you know. Let's be honest, there are in this world, in this universe, there are energies that are polar opposites. So while we are attracting the good, know that there may be energies out there. There may be people out there that aren't happy that you're making the choice to step into who you are. So we have, you know, these ancestral beads that are charged to help you on the path. As my wonderful friend Tamaz, her daughter, said, you know, that there are angels in your beads that you can talk to, that are there for you, surrounding you, so that you know that your ancestors surround you. And our third bonus is our private Facebook community. Again, we have weekly office support. I have a team of women who will be engaging regularly in the group, right, to keep you motivated, to keep you focused on each week, right? We have different teachers coming in to go live to engage with you about every week and every new video that comes out, right? So we'll be together and share in the group. So now let me, you know, ask the question, you know, which path are you going to take? Are you going to take path one, where you choose to continue to try and figure everything out on your own, continue to waste your time, probably money, definitely energy, and trying to do everything on your own, right? You're not working with Ubuntu. Or are you going to choose path two of Ubuntu and work with community and get support and guidance and accountability when you need that, as you're going through rites of passage, to hold you accountable to the new being that you're becoming, right? So that you can succeed without all the stress of trying to do things alone. I'm so happy to finally say that the enrollment for African Mystery School is now open. Please go to africanmysteryschool.com to get started today. You know, I wanted to be a little jazzy and snazzy, so I spelled African a little different. So be sure to pay attention to the spelling. And it's not mystery, it's mysteries, as there are more than one mystery. And I wanted to showcase that in the domain name. So visit africanmysteryschool.com and you will see more information about each of the priestesses. I just want to go over one more time everything that you're going to get over the 9 months. You'll get the course guidebooks. We'll be in the membership portal in the private space that is just for initiates. You get access to 6 priestesses, okay, that are doing their work, that are initiated in their path of medicine, that can show the receipts, okay, of their work, okay, and that are continuing to do their work. You get the 6 soul work activities that go along with each of these mysteries to fully integrate the medicine within your being, right? So that you're not just taking in medicine, so that it's actively working through your being, so that it can be channeled outwardly, so that you can see the changes that you want to see in your life. You'll have access to our members area. And again, each week you'll receive an email letting you know that a new mystery is unlocked, or you can just always log in, as you'll have your own private username and password. You'll get the bonuses of the Facebook group, weekly temple support, and your custom ancestral beads as a special gift. And now to, I'm sure, what you finally want to know about, the cost. So I wanted to make it affordable for everyone. So the payment plan is 10 payments of $199.70, and the total would be $19.97 if you opted for the payment plan. Same perks, lifetime access to the community, to all the teachings, the private group, all the bonus content we mentioned, the weekly temple support when you need that extra push, when you need that extra bit of love, as this process is designed to bring things up that are finally ready to be healed. So some days you might need a little more. So again, for those of you that pay in full, you'll save $200. When you enroll, it'll only be $17.97. For those of you that want to pay monthly payments for your tuition, you can get started today for only $199.70. So for under $200 a month, you have the, access to all of these dynamic teachings, all of these women, and you have, community and a family that you can be a part of if you choose to really, share your energy, share your light with us. So visit AfrikanMysterySchool.com to enroll. Enrollment is only going to be from today until next Sunday, and we begin. So you have from the 13th today up until midnight p.m. Eastern Standard Time on September 20th to sign up. So you can get started, by making your payment today of $199.70 and secure your space in the community and get ready to start learning. And thank you, for those of you who stayed on this whole time. I appreciate you for being here and sharing in my world, sharing in what I have come to share with you. Thank you for allowing my ancestors time to minister to your spirit. Hopefully, you've received some messages from your ancestors. You were able to see me as a mirror and reflect on some of the things that I've said. And, if those of you have any questions outside of, what I shared today, please email me at gogoateyo@ancestralwealth.com, or simply just go to African Mystery School to register. And that is it. That's all I have for you. And again, thank you for spending this last 90 minutes with me and, learning about rites of passage. You all have an awesome night. I am going to stop the share. And turn on my video. And thank you for being with me for this time. May your guides and your ancestors continue to elevate you on your path. May you continue to surrender to your purpose. And I hope to see you in African Mystery School. So you all have a good rest of your Sunday. Makhosi, Thokozani, Thokozani, Thokos. Peace.